Hi boys and girls, welcome back to Tinkercad Lesson 3. In this lesson we'll be learning to rotate and flip shapes. Then we'll learn more about controlling the height and the depth of each shape. And finally we will end the lesson with learning to use the alignment tools in Tinkercad. So I have my work plane here and we're going to first look at how to flip a shape. So we'll just bring this cone up. Okay, so to flip this, I can go to this top button up here in the right where it says flip. And when I click it, you'll see that it then gives me 3 arrows. I can click it on the X or the Y axis over here, or I can also click it for the Z axis. Now, when I hover over the arrow, you'll see that it gives me a preview of what's going to happen before I flip. So we're just going to click here and it's going to flip it upside down. Another way to rotate is to use these arrows that you see here above the object. So it's a curved arrow. And when I hover over it, you'll see a degree. If I am inside that blue circle and I move it, it is going to move in 22.5-degree increments. So you'll see I can turn it. So I could also flip it upside down that way. When my mouse is inside of the blue circle, it moves in 22.5 increments. But when I go outside, you'll see that my circle just changed and I can specifically change it that way. It'll go in single increments. I can also click and change it. Let's say I want to go 25. I press enter and it will send it that way. Another way to change it, if I want to do 45-degree increments, I can click shift on the keyboard and I can move it in 45-degree increments. Something else to know is that you can rotate your shape on different planes. So if you notice that I have 3 arrows here, I have one down here on the bottom. I also can rotate from this angle and send my shape around this way, or we can work back at the original place where I was working to flip my shape. So you'll have 3 points where you can rotate from. And we'll work with the cube to control the height and the depth. There is a black triangle above your shapes, and that's going to control the height and the depth. When I click with the left click on that, I can move it up and you'll see down here, it's showing me that it is 2/4 of an inch above the surface now. And once that happens, you'll see there's a shadow underneath. So the shadow is showing me that it is no longer flat on the work plane. You can also go into this negative space underneath the work plane. So you'll see as I go underneath the work plane, it'll become a negative number. And then when I go to the front, you can now see that there is a 1/2 of an inch underneath the work plane. So when you're changing the depth or the height, it's important to click on the different views to get an idea of how high and how low your object is. All right, and for the last part of our lesson, we are going to talk about aligning objects. So there's 2 ways I can select objects. The first way I can do that is by left clicking and dragging, and then you'll see that now I have all 3 objects there, and I can go to the alignment tool right up top here. Alignment is here. I click on it and you'll see that dots appear. These dots show where I can align. So I can align all my objects in the center, and it gives you a preview of where your objects will move if you decide to click on that button. So I can align in the center on this side. I can align in the center over here. You'll see that that actually is my Z-axis. So it would align them that way. And I can also align them this way. So I can click here, and now they're all in alignment. Now, I said there was a second way to select your objects. Notice that if I only select one object, the alignment tool is not available because you need to have more than one object selected in order to align. So if I just want to align, let me get these 2. If I just want to align my cone and my cube, I can click the shift button on the keyboard, highlight the cone and highlight the cube. And then I can go to alignment. It's now available because more than one object is selected. When I click align, I will see those dots again, and I can align obviously the center or the center on the x-axis and also on the z-axis. I can also align up front. So if I want them together like this up front, I can click this button here. There's multiple ways to align. All right, boys and girls, I'm going to give you a few minutes to tinker with what I just taught you, and when you're ready, make sure you come back for the next lesson.